All right, so in this one, we are going to add our template so we can see the information about our product model. So let's go ahead and inside of our products app, we're going to create inside of the products apps, we're going to create a new folder in here called templates. And inside of this folder, we are going to make another new folder and we're going to call it products. And inside of that folder, we're finally going to make a file called product.detail.html. Copy the name of that and go back into our views and make sure that everything's spelled correctly. So this should be product.detail.html. I'll explain why it's in this template folder versus our other template folder in just a second. But in product.detail.html, we're going to go ahead and extend base.html. And we'll do block content. And then in block. And we're going to put the object here. So I'll just do object.title for now. All right, so let's go ahead and back into our CBV. If I look at it, I now have my template actually coming through. It says MP3 player. And if I go back into the other product, I see that it also says MP3 player. Cool, so that's very simple. It's using the exact same template because this template is going automatically to this one that we assigned, where this one by default goes with this format, which the format is, so if we did template name, that's actually how you set it, it would be app name / model name underscore the view that it's working with. So in this case, it's detail. It could also be list, but let's just say detail, and then it's .html. So these things are what are by default. And of course, that's all in the documentation itself. So the detail view, again, has a lot of defaults that are built into it. And one of those being if we didn't go to the right page, like in this case, if I did 112, or if I change it into the class-based view and do 112, it does page not found. So really all it's doing here is using a shortcut that is called get object or 404. So let's go back into the product instance here. And instead of using product.objects, I'll just copy this line real quick and paste it below. Instead of using that one, we would use get object or 404, and this is product, and then it will be ID equals to ID. So that is the exact same call of this, but it's going to say if it doesn't get it, it's going to do a 404. Another way to do that is to say use a try block. So just showing a little exceptions here, and then we'll do except product.does-not-exist. We would raise an HTTP 404, and to import that, we would do from Django.http import HTTP 404. So these two blocks are doing the same as this. And then we could also do another exception. So the exception handling here is actually important because we will actually use exception handling in some cases. But in this case, we'll just say except if there's another issue, we'll just raise HTTP 404. So the default exception is going to be raising 404 if the product does not exist or it's something else. All right, cool. So that is essentially how we're going to do our templates and how that's going to work. So this is actually the product page itself. So if we go to products on either way, we will get the same result. But for us, we are going to stick with the class-based views. I want to actually stick with this so you guys can see how that is in action. But this is essentially how you would do a function-based view with a keyword argument of some kind. So going forward, we're going to use function or class-based views. If you do have questions on function-based views, we have several other projects that solely use function-based views, but this project, there's a really good reason as to why we're using class-based views is because, well, overall they're easier to implement and they take a lot less code. There's a lot more stuff that we can do with them, but that's the gist of it. We still might have some function-based views here and there because at the end of the day, they are easier in some cases. They're a lot easier in some cases than other ones when you have to do a lot of customizing to the particular view. So as far as customizing the template itself, if you wanted to, you would just say template name equals to, and then you could just give a new template name. And I say product.html, and then if I go back into my class-based view, so CVV, it's going to say template does not exist. So that's how you'd actually define your templates if you wanted them to be any different. But again, like I said, default is that. Okay, so now, since we are changing to just class-based views, we're going to go back into our URLs. We're going to get rid of that last line here, or at least comment it out. I'll leave it in there for reference. And then we're going to change this URL to just being the PK, or primary key. And we're going to be working with this for now. So if you have any questions on this, let us know. Otherwise, let's keep going.